What a great way to start a Tuesday morning. This is One Life Radio. Good morning, everyone. I've got Dr. Jeremy Webster with me today, and of course, my what are you, Danny? Danny Miles. Danny's my right-hand man. He's our producer. He's just awesome. And
you're a pool boy.
You're my pool boy?
I'm your pool boy.
Oh, okay, you're my pool boy.
I'm your pool boy. I need a part-time job, so I'm your pool boy.
Every girl should have a pool boy, right? And what we've got a bunch of food around here this morning because we said we were going to cook. Amy, Dr. Webster's wife, was going to cook, and she did this amazing quiche.
I teased you last time.
Oh, my gosh.
She promised she would make Danny and Bernadette a quiche.
Well, my piece is already gone. It was delicious. It was nutritious. It was healthful. It was full of all those healthy fats that we all need. Lots of protein and absolutely delicious. She's a great cook.
No wheat flour either. And Danny, I see yours is gone too.
Oh, I devoured that, yeah.
Well, and
I added a little, I added something to that, a little bit of avocado.
Which doesn't hurt a thing.
You love your avocados,
only makes it more healthy. And she's going to post that on Facebook, by the way.
Yep.
And it's on my Facebook. I think maybe we can get it on yours, too.
Yeah.
So just go to CompleteHealthDallas.com. You'll see right there on the side of the page where you can easily join on Facebook. And she posts all the recipes there. They're all gluten-free, they're all dairy-free, and they're all basically sugar-free. We use xylitol for almost everything. Once in a while, we'll put like maybe a teaspoon of honey or a teaspoon of maple syrup in a big recipe, but virtually sugar-free.
Well, I'm going to perfect this recipe because I made the peanut butter chocolate chip cookies this morning with the almond flour and all the great stuff, and I use stevia, but I'm not a big fan of stevia. I think that the xylitol is a much better for recipes to make it taste as much like what we're used to, so we don't say, it was healthy, but I'm not going to go back for more. Because
I agree.
You have to have the satiety, you just have to.
If it doesn't taste good, they're not going to eat it. And that's the great thing about xylitol. You can replace one for regular white sugar with xylitol, and it tastes exactly the same. You're not missing anything as far as taste. And a lot of these recipes also that we've been making, we replace some of the white flour with almond flour or coconut meal or coconut flour.
Yeah, there's all different kinds of flours
and
now.
they taste really good. I mean, these cookies are things that I would love to just snack on. They're delicious.
Well, and she's the recipe for the coconut lemon balls, which I haven't had yet, but I'm still full from the quiche.
I had my lemon balls.
Did you eat all of them already?
Well, I only had one.
Oh, you only had one because you gave us 4 in each baggie. I was going to say, darn.
She was generous.
Tell us what you did last night, Danny. What you said right before we went on the air.
It was bad again.
What'd you do? Come on.
It's a weekend. It was an exded weekend, but it was a weekend.
Pretend you're in a confessional and you're Catholic.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I ate like a pig. No, I went to the grocery store, and of course I went to the grocery store hungry, which you should never do. But I even got to the checkout counter, and I'm like, okay, all right, this is good. I'm even here. I'm ready. No, I'm still hungry. Got to do it. So I went, instead of getting a steak, I went and got, 4 hamburger patties. But they were bison.
Well, that's good. But you ate all 4 of them. That's bad.
I know, it's bad.
That's really
on a
bad.
bun?
Didn't you listen to what Dr. Webster said last week? Nothing, no more than 4 ounces, or is it your liver can't process the?
Well, you just aren't going to absorb that much protein. When you get protein beyond what your body can use as protein, as amino acids, and the building blocks of your structure, your muscle, and your hormones, and the other chemicals in your body. When you get beyond that, our normal use of protein, that protein just turns into sugar. And you're probably not going to burn through that sugar either, so that sugar then gets stored as body fat.
Right.
I will say this, though.
Not so good.
So you're going to chub up if you're not careful?
No, this is probably a reason why, because I have been really making a conscious effort of eating better. And I have been eating better. Yeah. Not great, better.
I know you have.
But last night, I was up every hour on the hour. All night.
Not good. Why? Why were you up every hour?
I think it's because I had...
Because he ate 16 ounces of meat?
Is that it? Really?
Well, and not just the meat, but with the bun.
Sure.
Right?
Lots of sugar.
And it wasn't at 5 or 6... I ate those things at, 7:30, 8 o'clock.
You had 4 buns and 4 burgers, not just 4 burgers?
No, I had 4 burgers and buns.
Oh, my gosh.
My plan was, just like a lot of people out there, their plan is just to cook it all up.
Your new name is Wimpy.
Grill them out.
Okay.
I know, I love hamburgers. But I went, just to cook them all up and, and save a couple for, maybe bring one for lunch today. I One. Ooh, that was good. I'll have
Didn't
another
work
one.
so well,
Ooh,
did
that
it?
was so good. Okay, I have one left. No, that's good. Hey,
I can see Danny just laying there on the couch holding his belly going, oh, that was good.
I know what you need.
Hamburger wrappers
but I'm
all
not
over
going to
the
say it
place.
on the air. I know what you need.
a back rub.
You need,
Yeah, last night I needed like a little tender loving care.
you need a burger replacement.
Yeah, but and I did so well throughout the weekend, aside from the beer.
And did you watch any football?
No,
Are you kidding me?
nope. I
Gosh.
watched. Well, I take that back. I watched maybe a total of 2-3 minutes.
Wow.
There were a couple
Total.
good games. They really were.
I
didn't-
was looking to see the score on my phone, but I would not turn it to the. I turned it to the end of the game on both games.
Well, hooray to the Ravens. They're an incredibly talented team. I'm just saying.
Hooray to nobody.
Shut. What'd you say?
I said hooray to nobody. We got another 2 weeks of Ray Lewis.
Oh, give him a break. He's just happy. Don't pee on
He's
his
been happy
parade.
for a long time.
Don't
though.
rain on
he's
his.
been-
Well, I'm
He
just.
likes the
And his-
attention.
Well,
and his
of
6
course,
kids and
of
4
course he
wives
does.
are happy too.
You know, it makes me wonder what he's going to be like after he quits football. He seems like one of those that
No,
is not going to
he
do
learned
well.
from his mistakes. I truly believe.
You think so?
Because 10 years ago, he was acquitted for murder. And a
Really?
lot of people seem to forget that. No,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yep. That was huge. That was a huge story.
So he's got baby mama drama and.
And he's got four wives or 4 ex-wives and 6 kids.
Oh, jeez.
But
4
what-
ex-wives?
What I was
Wow.
getting at is he
from
seems
what I
like one
understand,
that
you know where I
loves
heard that
football.
from, by the way.
Okay, go ahead.
I heard that from Wes Welker's wife, who posted that on Facebook.
Oh, my gosh.
Wes Welker, of course, being the wide receiver for the Patriots, she was a little
Miffed?
She was a little miffed, and of course, she came on yesterday and apologized to Ray Lewis and the Ravens, and she goes, the emotions got the better of her, so she was kind of like me when my team loses.
Facebook causes so many problems.
It
Gosh.
does.
Well, Facebook
And it's
and
creating
Twitter.
a whole generation
And
of
Twitter.
narcissists, by the way. So it really, really is.
What I was getting at earlier was Ray Lewis seems like one of those guys that he loves football so much. What is he going to do after he's out of football? It makes me
Yeah.
kind of worry about a guy like that. Like Junior Seau and like some of these others who just weren't able to handle life once they got through this. They're basically like kings when they're at that level.
Yeah.
They're the
when I
best of the
see
best.
a guy like that who's so intense and so passionate, I see a Mike Singletary.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And Mike Singletary, the former linebacker
You think
great
he'll
for the
coach?
Bears, didn't do well as a coach.
Bears.
Good position coach, but not as a head coach. But I see him being a position coach. I really
Yeah,
do,
maybe
because
so.
he's just so intense and so rah-rah.
Sure.
Well, we've got a great show coming up, and this is stuff that we have never covered before, but I think it'll be fun and interesting. Important body measurements. If you don't know what your body measurements are, you might want to get out a tape measure. You are listening to One Life Radio here on 1190. We will be back right after the break.
Leaving that alone.
Balls, I've got big balls. They're such big balls, and they're fancy big balls. And he's got big balls, and she's got big balls.
Welcome back to One Life Radio here on 1190. This is Bernadette with Dr. Jeremy Webster and Danny Miles, and we are talking about important body measurements. My mind didn't even go there until your filthy mind, Danny, dragged me down there, okay?
What?
I swear to God, that
Hey,
never
I-
entered my mind. But I'm just going to
not.
say,
Of course, it never enters any woman's
I-
mind.
I
right?
guess-
No, of course not.
well,
Sure.
I guess
No,
since
you're
we
right.
don't have one, we don't measure it, okay? I don't think I've ever measured.
I'm glad.
No,
you
okay,
don't
I'm
have
not
one.
even going there.
You don't
okay?
have an Adam's apple too, so that's good.
How do we get ourselves in these messes?
Anyway, before we go to this, I have a question, kind of off the beaten path here, about my sensitivity to eggs.
Okay.
And my question to you, I haven't had eggs in a while, so bought a whole bunch and hard boiled them. Yesterday morning had like 4. Actually, I had 5 within a couple hours. Nope. Didn't
Nope.
take.
Nope.
However,
Didn't stick.
my question to you, When I go, and it just dawned on me, I was like, wait a minute, I eat eggs every week. When I go to and have my salad at, the
Snappy salads?
Yeah, snappy salads. Over at one of the chain restaurants, they have a nice salad bar, but they have hard-boiled eggs. I have at least 4 or 5 there, and never have any problems. Now, my question to you is, could it be because I'm eating them with salad and with vegetables and stuff like that, opposed to just eating them
mass
alone?
quantities?
Maybe.
No, I mean,
Maybe.
4 or 5
Yeah.
eggs is not that much.
In one sitting?
In one sitting, but not all the yolks. I usually have like 5 eggs
Now,
and
with
2
you,
of the
is
yolks.
it the yolk that gives you the issue or the white?
I'm thinking it's the yolk.
Is it?
I'm thinking it's the yolk.
Okay. And
But-
the other day when you ate them, you ate the whole egg?
Yeah.
Okay.
The
and that's
whole
when you had
egg
the
and nothing
problem.
but the egg?
Well, the
However,
thing is
when I go to like I said, when I go to the salad bar, and I'll eat 4 whole eggs, and I don't have a problem.
well, that's a little strange. I don't know why you wouldn't when you eat with salad or versus when you don't.
Okay, so you answer my question.
little bit
No,
of-
it shouldn't be.
A little bit about sensitivities, though. If you have a food sensitivity, eliminating them except for the weekends or, just like rarely putting the food in isn't enough to completely get the sensitivity out.
Mm-hmm.
It really isn't. You have to be 100% compliant. You have to get it out of your system completely. Every food is a little bit different. Dairy, for example, if you have a dairy allergy or a sensitivity, you can get rid of that fairly quickly if you do the right things, or at least the dairy will be out of your system quickly. Wheat takes a lot longer. We're talking about months with wheat to completely get it out of your system. And that's not enough to get rid of the sensitivity. That's just to get the food out of your system. To get rid of the sensitivity, oftentimes you have to go in and take care of the gut. If there's a gut issue, like a leaky gut syndrome, or if there's some kind of an immune issue like a low vitamin D level or a toxicity, you have to take care of those issues before you can reintroduce the food and really expect the sensitivity to be gone.
Now, let me
Wow.
ask you this in reference to eggs. The yolk has all the vitamins and what have you, but the protein comes from the egg whites, correct?
Right.
Now, what can I substitute? If it is just the yolks that I can't eat, what can I substitute the yolks with? Avocado?
Yeah.
I mean, far as the type of fat, the good fat that you're talking about.
Good
that.
healthy fat. You're going to get some of the fat soluble nutrients from avocado. Also, olive oil has some of those nutrients. Like it's going to have some vitamin E in it, for example, the fat soluble vitamins.
So there is benefits of just eating the egg whites.
Yeah, well, if you need protein.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
again, like we talked about last time, you don't need that much protein.
How much is too much as far as eggs?
What is an egg? Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Isn't it like 4 or 5 grams?
I don't know.
Of a protein per egg white, something
Let me
like
Google
that. I'm imagining 3 or 4 eggs is plenty. Any more than that, you're probably
Pushing
consuming
it.
more than you really need.
Okay.
That's
See,
just
that's good to
just a
know
guess,
because,
though.
we read and we see, these athletes that are eating literally a dozen eggs a day or egg whites a day because we have this mentality, well, if we need 40 grams, 80 must be better.
Right, and that's not true, and it really doesn't do you any good and can be actually harmful.
worse. Okay.
Harmful to you. Remember a couple weeks ago we had Guy Metzger on with us, and he was talking about how he ate so many egg whites when he was training, but he developed sensitivity to egg whites himself.
Yeah.
So he's had to go away from that. So don't even if you're eating a high protein diet and you're working out a ton, yeah, you can probably handle more protein than the average couch potato, but don't eat the same
couch
protein
burger.
over and over and over
Really?
again. Vary it. Eat some beef, eat some chicken, eat some fish, eat some eggs, eat some lamb. Vary. Eat some raw whey protein. So vary your protein sources, and you won't tend to develop a sensitivity to one or the other.
So my protein source last night was not really too nutritional.
Well, if you
I
did
had
that,
some ketchup.
if you did that all the time, one setting isn't enough to cause a sensitivity.
Yeah.
But if you ate 4 burgers all the time, yeah, you'd probably develop a sensitivity to that protein.
probably developed
and
a
it's
pretty...
about
And you'd
1
be
gram
very
of
fat.
protein per weight for what you like. If you weigh 150 pounds, because I'm thinking about my children, you have to do the formulation so you don't give your children too much protein as well.
Sure, yeah, of course. If you're 100 pounds versus a 200-pound guy,
Yeah.
the 200-pound guy can absorb and utilize more protein than the 100-pound female,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah, but just a reminder for people with their kids, because again, like Danny,
Put poster child here.
More is not good.
Yeah, anything more than about a chicken breast is probably too much.
Yeah.
Well, you told
that's
me
a
last
ballpark.
week that, as far as red meat or as far as steak, 8 to 10 ounces is enough.
Oh, no, 8 to 10 ounces is probably too much.
Wow.
You get about 5-6 ounces. The same with the chicken breast. The chicken breast is usually, about 6 ounces?
And I do twice to
piece of
3 times
fish?
that when I have steak.
So sure, but you're consuming more protein than you really can use.
You go to any restaurant and the average steak size is usually 14 to 16 ounces.
That's huge. I could never.
Really?
That
I
is
could never
huge.
eat a 16-ounce steak. Now, maybe a ribeye if it's real juicy, but like a fillet, I get through a fillet after about 6 ounces and I'm done.
How about a 48-ounce steak?
The old 96er?
No, I got a picture of me devouring a 48-ouncer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you are wimpy.
Yeah.
Wow, I went to the Incredible Edible Egg, and it says that the protein in eggs is the highest quality protein found in any food.
Almost. High-quality whey protein is slightly higher.
Okay.
It is slightly. They used
But
to.
can
They
you
used to
get
use
that?
egg. They used to use egg whites as the gold standard, and they put the biological availability of protein, and they put eggs as the 100 mark, meaning perfect, and then they gauged everything else off that until they discovered high quality whey protein, and it's like 107 or 114.
But can you get high quality whey protein in a food?
In a food, well, no, it comes from milk.
That's
it
right.
comes from fresh
That's why
milk.
it has to
And
be in a powdered or
any
or your
milk
drink.
that you get off the shelf these days, unless you're going directly to a farmer, is pasteurized. So it doesn't qualify as high quality right away because it's pasteurized, it's denatured, it's not worth very much after the milk has been pasteurized. So that's why the protein that I use has not been high heat pasteurized. So it's very pristine.
Not to go off the beaten path again, but last night I was watching an old George Burns and Gracie show. And they were promoting carnation powdered milk. And they were talking about the nutritional value of powdered milk. And I was watching this, and I'm thinking to myself, that's when they used to do the live commercials in the show. Mm-hmm. And this live commercial, basically, with George and Gracie saying how, you get the same nutritional value. And not only that, you add just half of the powder and half of water, and it makes wholesome milk and the sun, and then it's added vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin, and this and that, and it's 3 times less than buying milk from the store. And I'm thinking to myself, going, wow. Do they even have carnation anymore?
It's not healthy either.
No, but I mean, this was
powderize
1950 or 50 something, but it was really interesting, 60 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
I remember as a kid having some powdered milk, and
we did too. My mother and father would mix it with regular milk to stretch it, basically.
I used to put it in my protein shakes. I would use powdered milk and egg, like raw eggs. I would do, when I was in high school trying to bulk up, I would put anything you can imagine. Peanut butter, raisins, anything with calories or protein.
It's so interesting. Men want to bulk up and women want to get small. I mean, I remember walking into Larry North Fitness a couple of months ago, and this guy walked in and he was really excited. He's like, I gained 5 pounds, man. And it was comical to me because...
How old was he?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even remember what he looked like. But I remember thinking how comical it was. That he had gained 5 pounds. If a woman... if she would have walked in, she'd be like, she'd want to kill herself if she gained 5 pounds, But the difference between men and women is just kind of funny.
Well, we all want to look like the ideal. And to a 15-year-old kid, when you stare in the mirror and you're this scrawny little toothpick and you look at these guys with broad shoulders and all, yeah, that's how I want to be. So I've got to gain some weight. The women are looking at, I've got love handles. And they look at the ideal woman, the quote unquote ideal woman, and that's how they want to look. So they generally need to trim down.
What is the ideal woman? I'm going to ask you both.
No.
Oh, your wife is listening.
Danny,
come
you can
on,
answer this
guys.
one.
What's my ideal body type?
Heartbeat?
You mean?
Oh.
Is that what you're talking about?
The ideal woman. If you want to start with the body, go ahead. If you're shallow, Hal, go ahead.
We don't have enough time. We don't have enough time. Anyway,
well, and this is a nice little segue into important body measurements, which is what we want to talk about.
And we'll do it, and then
some of them related to looks and attractiveness. Some of them related to heart health. Some of them related to general health. So a lot of different ways we can measure ourselves without having a lot of expensive equipment.
I love it. You are listening to One Life Radio here on 1190. You have been listening to Dr. Jeremy Webster from CompleteHealthDallas.com. That's CompleteHealthDallas.com. You can reach him at 972-735-0707. That's 972-735-0707. We will be back right after the break.
She was a seaside sitting, just smoking and drinking on ringside, on top of the world. Oh yeah. She had a drink in her hand, she had her toes in the sand. Wow, what a beautiful girl.
Welcome back to One Life Radio. Yes, she had a drink in her hand. She had a cigar in the other hand. Right? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Is that your ideal woman, Dan?
Cigar in the hand, drink in the other hand, toes in the sand. Yeah. Yeah, in fact, that is.
Is it? Good. All right.
With a body that kills.
There you go. Well, you got to have a mind that kills too. Seriously, we won't even go there. But a body doesn't mean anything
No,
if you've
you're
got
right.
a. If
No,
you're
you're right.
If you're a.
You're
if
right.
you're an ignorant, selfish person. So, anyway, I'll get off that box.
Correct. Okay, so
important body measurements. First one on the list is weight. Dr. Webster.
And this is the one that I think everybody obsesses about the most.
Not me. I never weigh myself.
Good
Never.
for you. And I recommend that my patients don't at all, except for on a schedule. When my patients tell me, "Oh, I measure every single day," I say, "What are you doing? You're driving yourself insane. Don't be doing that." So get on a schedule. Measure yourself either once a week or once a month, but it needs to be at the same time at the same day. It can be Monday, the first thing when you wake up every week, or it can be the first day, the first time right when you wake up, the first day of every month. And that way, if you do that, you can at least plot your weight, so you can see what kind of changes you're making. And this is if you're trying to make a change, if you're trying to lose weight, you can gauge your.
I say if
gauge
you're trying to make a change, get the visual. Look at yourself naked in
No
the
doubt
mirror
about it,
every single day, and if you don't see what you like, then change it.
But don't you think even that looking every single day is going to drive yourself crazy? How much difference can you make in one day?
Not if you look good.
You can't make
Then you go right on,
but
man.
you can't make a lot of difference in one day, and that's why I'm
No,
saying
you can't.
spread it out and make it consistent and plot it. If you're trying to lose weight, that is. If you're trying to lose weight and get in shape, this is just one measurement, and it's not and it's not necessarily the best measurement. There are other good measurements, but this is one thing that you can plot, and you can say, okay, I'm trying to lose weight, and I'm taking my weight every week or every month. And lo and behold, I'm losing approximately 1 pound per week. Well, that's perfect then. Then you're doing exactly what you should do if you're trying to lose weight. If you're trying to lose weight and you keep plotting this week by week, month by month, and you're not losing anything, well, then you need to do something different. That's all I'm saying as far as weight goes.
Well, I think I'm a perfect example of this. This weekend, I went to the gym for the first time, mind you, since it's been about a month.
Oh, good. You finally made it.
No, but here's a good example. Yeah, I did, and it was
awesome.
I just went through the motions. But at least,
you did it.
But at least I went.
That's what you have to do when you start.
And then I did it. Then I went back yesterday morning also.
Let's do burpees together on the next break.
No. So anyway, here's the perfect example. Is I thought, okay, let's see how much weight I gained, and jumped on the scale. Did not gain a pound, but I know that I've gained inches because my pants are a little bit tighter. I know that I'm not half as healthy as I was even just 1 month. I'm 47 years old. That 1 month 20 years ago wouldn't have meant nothing.
Right.
Now, just that 1 month, nobody knows your body better than yourself, correct?
I would say so, yeah.
And,
usually.
But, I'm about another month away from getting, a man bra. So, I mean,
Are you going to let that happen? Are you?
Hell no. That's why I went to the gym. I was like, okay, I'm starting to get excited looking at my breasts.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, time to. But no,
You're
Well,
meeting
maybe
your
you might
minds.
like that. Victoria's Secret has some really sexy stuff. You might want to try it
baby.
out, Danny.
Yeah,
You're
baby.
becoming your ideal woman.
Yeah, I need a sports bra now. But no, what I'm getting at is I didn't gain a pound, but I know that I've gained inches.
You lost
big time.
You lost a few pounds of muscle. You gained a few pounds of fat, and that's not a good trade-off.
No.
So that's a good point. Weight is not the only measurement. There's a lot of important measurements, and if you lose weight the wrong way, it's not good. Losing weight the right way is perfectly fine, but you have to measure other things, and we're going to get to some of those measurements a little bit later. Now, back to weight that we were talking about. I have a story that just kind of blew my mind, and I want to read the title to you guys and see what you think. This is from time.com, because nobody produces actual magazines anymore. Being overweight linked to lower risk of mortality. Being overweight linked to lower risk of mortality. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I remember we talked about this last week. We teased it. So tell us, what did it say? It seems ridiculous.
Yeah, they looked at lots and lots of studies. They defined normal weight for a 5'4" woman as being between 108 to 145 pounds. I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable for normal. And so if you're over that, being overweight, they consider 146 to 174. And if you're 5'4" and you're over 174, you're considered obese. Now this isn't for the obese. The obese, obviously, that category obviously showed a negative correlation to mortality. If you're obese, you're going to die earlier, period. You're going to have more heart disease, more diabetes, more everything. But if you're in that somewhat overweight range,
just a little chubby,
you actually live longer on average than somebody who's in the normal weight range.
Wow.
What do you think, Danny?
Do you believe it?
Maybe if I live in Alaska.
Well, okay. There you go. And that's what they talk about in this article, is that it doesn't necessarily mean you're healthier. What it means is people who are overweight, there's some other things that lend themselves to them living longer. It's not the weight causing them to live longer, but actually the weight is causing them to do things, or those type of people tend to do things that will make them live longer. Here's a couple examples. When you're overweight, you tend to be a little bit more concerned about your possibility for heart disease or diabetes or other problematic diseases. So people who are overweight get checked for diabetes and heart disease and high cholesterol and high blood pressure and all these things a lot more often than someone who is normal weight. So even though being normal weight puts you at less risk of developing these things, you're more likely to discover those things if you're overweight. So that's one reason. The other reason they said was sometimes there are certain diseases that you catch. Say you catch pneumonia and you are 108 pounds. And then the pneumonia causes you to lose 15 pounds. That could be dangerous. That could be life-threatening, and people can die from that. That even though the person was at a very healthy weight to begin with. But if you're 148 pounds and you get pneumonia and you lose 15, you're like, yeah, this is great.
Thanks, pneumonia.
Greatest diet I ever had, pneumonia.
So they're often able to survive a harmful disease that caused you to lose some weight because they had the extra weight to lose.
Now let me ask you this: heavier, or does it matter what weight you're at as far as your immune system?
Immune system. It has a lot more to do with your lifestyle.
Okay.
Why are you heavy? Are you heavy because you have a lot of muscle, or are you heavy because you eat a lot of sugar and you have a big fat belly? So there's a big difference between those things.
Okay.
So anyway, I just thought it was interesting.
All right. So the next on the list is BMI, which is body mass index.
Body mass index. Yeah.
And so tell us about that.
Well, this one goes a little bit further than weight. It looks at weight versus your height. And that's the only thing that it looks at. And there's a lot of problems with the BMI. For one, the BMI index is the same. The values are considered the same for men and women right off the bat.
Oh, that's
and it only
right
takes
away,
and it only takes into account two things: height and weight. So to me, I mean like you say, right away that there's a red flag that goes up. Say that's not legitimate, because if you're 5'6" and you're a woman and you're 160 pounds, you might be a little overweight.
Bless you.
Maybe you may be on the verge. But if you're a 5'6" male and you lift some weights, 160 pounds, you might be completely fit. Might almost be on the under.
When this came out, it made me shake my head, because you look at every athlete, especially football player out there. I would say 70% of it far as BMI scale would be overweight.
Almost
And we're
100%.
And we're talking, the running backs that are 5'8", 5'9", 205, 210 pounds. Well,
And
BMI,
no body fat on them, and not a bit of body fat.
No.
As lean as they can possibly be.
and they're considered borderline obese. Really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. Now when a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung. Wanna pull up tough, cause you notice that butt was stuffed. Deep in the jeans she's wearing. I'm hooked and I can't stop staring. Oh, baby, I wanna get whipped up and take your.
I don't. You are listening to One Life Radio. I really don't know when to interject in that song because it's all so funny. You are listening to One Life Radio. This is Bernadette with Dr. Jeremy Webster and Danny Miles, and we are talking about important body measurements. We have talked about weight, BMI. Now we're going to talk about waist and hip because this really is the waist. Especially is something that's a growing problem in this country. You see so many people now with muffin middles. That's what it's kind of a term that's grown popular.
Muffin tops.
Or muffin tops, muffin middles.
The apple shape.
Yep, or the apple
The
shape
Kim
too.
Kardashian J-Lo look.
Now the opposite of that.
No,
We're talking about the bigger waist to hip ratio.
Oh.
Where the waist is big compared to the hips. And that's interesting that you bring that up.
Oh.
They're more big, like the song was talking about. But that's not so dangerous. The danger is when it goes the other way. See,
that's kind of hereditary, isn't it?
They would have, that part of it is, yes, but you can still affect this. Their waist to hip ratio would be very, very small because their waist is small compared to their hips. Mm-hmm. But when it goes the other way, that's when you start getting dangerous. When the belly is big or the waist is big compared to the hips, you get major problems because that means the fat's deposited inside the abdominal wall. And it's pushing on your liver, pushing on your kidneys, your spleen, pushing probably onto your heart.
Is it more harmful toward women than it is toward men?
No,
I mean,
it's bad. It's bad to have a big belly, to have a lot of fat in your belly, regardless. Now, men have a higher propensity to put their fat there, so that's one major reason why men.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Men always get fat in the stomach first.
Yeah.
Because we drink more beer.
Maybe not.
Well, I gotta say that's a good thing because you don't want a guy getting a big bottom. That'd be sexy. I'm just gonna say.
Well, the bottom line is
you don't want a guy with hips.
We don't need to get fat anywhere. But when you're a male, or even when you're a female, and you tend to develop the fat in your belly, it's much more dangerous. Much more dangerous, and that's one of the reasons why men have a higher level of heart disease than women do, is because men who get fat tend to get fat in the belly, and it's dangerous. So we need to be measuring these things. This is something we can measure, especially if you think you're maybe at risk for heart disease, or if you're trying to lose weight. Monitoring this waist to hip ratio is going to be every bit as valuable as monitoring your overall weight. So when we measure these things, we want to measure them in the right spot. You don't measure like at the smallest point. I know it's kind of funny when my dad buys jeans, he buys the same size of jeans that he bought in high school
Because he wears them under the belly.
Oh, and then that's what cracks me up.
He pulls it up, and my mom is like, "You do not have a 34-inch waist." He's like, "Yeah, I do. Look, I can button these."
He's got
and
the
then
drop
it's like,
stomach.
Boom, the belly just hangs right over. It's like, so don't be measuring it under your belly. Measure your waist right across the belly button. It's going to be the largest.
Or the opposite.
So what can you do? Let's just say you're a guy. You got the muffin middle. What can you do?
Well, you do all the things that we talk about all the time.
I know. I'm just,
I
don't have a muffin middle. I'm just barrel chested. I'm just big bone.
Yeah, come on in here, Danny. Lift up your shirt. Let's check out your muffin middle. Come here. Come on.
No. And then back to the ratio. We need to make sure people can measure this properly. When you measure the hips, you need to measure at the largest part across your hips and butt. So get the biggest measurement you can across there, and then what's most likely, well, it could be either big or small depending on how you're built, but measure right across the belly button to get the waist.
Is it true the 10, 10, 10, like for a woman, 36, 24, 36, does that mean you're healthy? I mean, I know it means you look good, but does it mean you're healthy?
Yeah, if you hit
36, 24, 36?
Yeah.
What height?
You would probably look great.
What height? Does it matter?
Well, Sir Mix-a-Lot says only 5'3".
That's right. That's right.
Now that would be
beat me to it. I was queuing it right up.
That would be a fantastic waist to hip ratio for a female. That would be more like a model.
Okay, so what about a guy?
Well, let's look at the actual numbers. healthy numbers are 0.80 for a female. So if you measure the waist inches, let's say you have a 30-inch waist, and then you measure your hips, and they're 35. You take 30 divided by 35 and see what you come up with. And whatever that measurement is, if it's less than 0.8, then you're in a healthy range. If it's 0.8 or greater, then you're not in a healthy range. For men, it should be 1.0 or less, meaning your waist should not be bigger than your hips if you're a male. That's kind of obvious.
What about your chest?
That's a little bit more difficult.
Part of that is genetic, of course, because bigger shoulders or smaller shoulders.
Bigger rib cage. There's a lot more to it. When you measure chest to waist ratio, you're talking more about muscle to fat. And I think that's a great measurement. And if you want to get in better shape, measure your chest to waist ratio and see what it is. And then exercise for a while, and month to month monitor that and see as you build muscle if your chest
be
gets
sure
bigger.
To take out the implants.
I was just going to say, a woman measuring her chest. Does she measure her implants, or does she measure, under the
implant?
Just want to be clear.
Under the implant, of course.
Which would be,
And that measurement's more valuable for a male, where you can measure like your pec development or your back development. You can measure an increase in muscle.
Some of them like
at the same time. At the same time, you can measure the decrease in the weight, so you can see that measurement decreasing, or waist to chest ratio would be decreasing also, and that would be a good indicator that you're becoming more muscular and less fat. So less for the waist to hip ratio. This is the important one, because if you're above these numbers, you're at elevated risk for heart disease.
The waist to hip is okay.
The waist to hip, elevated risk for diabetes, heart disease, and all the problems of having too much truncal obesity. So less than 0.8 for females, less than 1.0 for males, and ideally.
What was that again?
He's doing the math in there.
Yeah, no, I'm saying trunk.
You got your tape measure out?
Truncal obesity, meaning your
junk in the trunk.
No, the opposite. No, the junk in the waist.
Okay. I never heard
junk.
that. That's why I said, what was that again?
And by the way, this isn't ideal.
Yeah.
These are not ideal. These are minimums, basically. You want to be less than 0.8 for a female or less than 1.0 for a male at the very least. If you want to be ideal, you want to be closer to like a 0.7 for females. That means you have a very nice curvy figure, an hourglass figure, a small waist. So for attractiveness, you want to shoot for that.
Shoot for it, babe. Well,
Okay.
she doesn't need to shoot for it. You're fine.
Thank you, Danny.
Oh.
We should bring out the tape. Let's
Let's do it. I don't care.
I don't have a tape on me.
Yeah.
I think I know what I am. I'm pretty sure. I haven't measured myself in years, but I'm just pretty
Are
sure.
you the Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Pretty close.
Oh, woo.
I've always had a tiny waist, though. Even, just always had a really tiny waist.
That's good. That puts you a lot less risk. Plus, it's more attractive, obviously.
Yeah, it is. Especially if you're wearing a belt or a dress or whatever. Just more
I
attractive.
like big butts.
Oh, my gosh.
So there are more.
There are more.
There are other measurements that we need to look at. If you want to either come to my office or get a Tanita scale, you can approximate your body fat percentage, and you can approximate your water percentage in your body.
I was just going to ask you that
really
about
important.
can you buy those, what do you call it, those pinchers?
The calipers, the skin calipers.
I mean, can you buy those in at some of the health stores and whatnot? And does that give you a good idea?
It does if you do it consistently. This is the main thing with the skin calipers is you do it, you figure out how to do it right, and you do it the same every single time, and then plot that. Again, measure that, write it down, and see how that changes. So if you measure your waist, don't worry about what the chart says you should be. Worry about, hey, I know I'm a little overweight. I look in the mirror. I know I'm too fat. Measure your love handles. Measure the fat on your arms.
I was
Write
just
those
going to
things
say,
down.
where's the best place to pinch if you're a girl, and what's the best place to
Well,
pinch if you're a
if you're a guy pinching a girl,
just on the belly. On the belly, get your fat that hangs over. They always say, can you pinch an inch? If you can pinch more than an inch, you're too fat on your belly. That's probably true, but you need to have a measurement. Measure it and measure it exactly the same every single time.
Here, let me pinch you, Danny. Let me see.
And the main thing is if you
definitely pinch more than
if you measure it the same every single time and you monitor that, and if it goes down, if that measurement goes down, then you're making progress. Simple as that. That's all you need to worry about is that you're making progress. Who cares what the calculation says if your waist fat, if your waist measurement is this and your arm measurement is this and your thigh measurement is this, that means you're this percentage body fat. Who cares? If you think you need to lose fat, then try to lose fat and make sure that those measurements are going down. That's all that you need to worry about.
See, I just know just by how my clothes fit.
Right.
And seriously.
Exactly. So you know, like you were saying, you know that you need to lose a little fat.
Yep.
So if you want to measure something, you can measure that skin fold.
Stuff go beyond the point that I'm at right now. So I've never been really, really big, except for that one time I showed you the picture of that.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
But I was young, and I lost that within, I want to say 3-4 months. I mean,
How fat did you get?
About 2.25.
And you're what, about 5'10", 5'8"?
6'5".
You're 6'5".
Danny, wake up.
I'm about 5'8". 5'8". Yeah, 5'8", 5'8".
No, you're taller than that, aren't you?
I don't think so.
5'8",
I don't know.
225, huh?
Yeah. And I was about 2.25. Now I started.
Pretty hefty.
Now this is when I just got done playing, so I was still somewhat athletic. But here's the deal: without a coach breathing down your neck, it's almost like when you make a lot of money and then you get
Just got
fired.
done playing what, beach volleyball?
Yeah, beach volleyball.
Professional beach volleyball?
Yeah. 6'5". Bull-like shoulders taped onto that wasp-like waist. Yeah. No, but it's almost like when you make a lot of money and all of a sudden you get laid off or you get fired, well, when you still live that lifestyle without any income coming in, your money goes, pretty much your bank account goes to zero pretty quick. Sure. That's what happened to me. I still ate the same lifestyle, but I stopped working out. Well, I ballooned big time. Wow. It didn't take long at all.
Calories in and calories out.
Yeah.
That ratio became out of whack.
And I added alcohol to that, added beer to that, where I wasn't drinking, as much alcohol then. So, yeah, I ballooned up.
And alcohol reduces your ability to burn body fat.
So I started at about 190, 195, and within 6 months, I was up to, less than 6 months, maybe 4 months.
Ballooned up quick.
Ballooned up big time.
Yeah, 5'8", 225. That's not your ideal weight.
Alcohol decreases your ability to burn body fat.
It does.
Wow.
It reverses this process where you're trying to break fat down into energy. It reverses that and makes you more likely to store sugar as body fat.
Wow. Interesting. A lot of people need to hear that. All right. Well, it's always fun working with you guys. I love Tuesdays. This is One Life Radio. You've been listening to
big butts.
Sorry.
You do like big butts, don't you, Danny? I know you do.
No, actually, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Okay. Well, we'll talk more about that on Friday when Dr. Webster comes back. You have been listening to Dr. Webster. You can find him at CompleteHealthDallas.com. That's CompleteHealthDallas.com. 972-735-0707. 972-735-0707. Dr. Webster, thank you. We'll see you on Friday.
I enjoyed it.
And Danny, see you tomorrow. Everyone out there listening, talk to you tomorrow. You've got one body, one mind, one life. Get out there today and make it rock.
Thank you for the quiche, Amy.